Welcome back live from Titans training camp here on 104.5 The Zone. It is Friday. Man, that's the kind of feel-good vibes that we need. Did they play Friday today? Can anybody confirm my A to Z Sports colleagues to my right? What the hell?
Practice tomorrow.
No, practice tomorrow. Play the Friday music on Friday. That's nonsense. That's the lasting legacy of Dick LeBeau, for God's sakes. The OG. Renaissance man. Scratch golfer at 97 years old, or however old Dick LeBeau is at this point. Love that song. Anyway, so Jackson refuses to let me do the SEC stat of the day without Lucas here, which is fine because I wouldn't be able to do it. So what do you want to do instead today? Do you have music? Are you prepared? Is there production around this on this high-quality radio program? You're just going to go right into it?
Bert's not here to sing the song. We were going to have Bert sing an altered version, but he needed to go home and get some rest.
Yeah. No, you don't want sick Bert singing into a microphone a cappella. I don't need that. I sounded congested enough on the morning show today that I don't need Robert Fleming his way through some poor version of SEC stat of the day.
So this is the training camp stat of the day, and we're starting with the number 51. That is the number of newcomers that the Titans took on their pre-camp roster. Out of 91 players, 51 are newcomers.
Wow.
And that's over half. I mean, half would be 45 and a half would be half. So
Oh
51.
my God, Lucas left and we can do math on the radio show. How about that?
Well over half of the players out there on the training camp field are newcomers. So with DeAndre Hopkins, I feel like he's getting a lot of the hype right now. So we're going to exclude him from this discussion. So out of the 50 newcomers not named DeAndre Hopkins, which one needs to have the biggest impact? I'm asking you this question. Our callers, 615-737-1045. We can take your calls on this one. And mine's going to be Arden Key. I feel like with Harold Landry coming in off the ACL, I feel like the defense is really going to have to keep games lower scoring, especially as the offense kind of finds a groove. I mean, you're having a brand new number one wideout, 5 new starters on the offensive line. You're going to have to kind of work into that a little bit. So I think in the early games, with Harold Landry getting back into form, the offense kind of finding its groove, Arden Key is going to have to be a force on the edge because, I mean, we saw in 2020 when the Titans can't get pressure on the outside, the defense just it doesn't work.
Yeah, no, they pressure on the outside, yes, obviously not having Harold Landry available and present last year hurt them substantially. And, we know Danico Autry missed some time, and we know what happened to Jeff Simmons. We talked about it earlier. It's just really, really hard to maintain when you've had the rash of injuries that they have. And ultimately, like, any conversation that we have around this damn football team and fixing things that went wrong in the last 2 years or fixing things that went wrong last year as opposed to this year, like, it's all predicated on the thing that is the most impossible to predict, which is can these guys stay healthy for, if not 17 regular season games, 15 or 14 regular season games, the bulk of the roster that you need to compete. So Arden Key's a great one because, like you said, you don't, while Harold looked great in the first day of practice, that's one day of practice that you have to work off of, and you're not going to draw any grand assessments from that. But I think that my answer is also going to be on the defensive side of the ball. Azeez Al-Shaair is going to be, in all likelihood, this year's David Long. David Long was a, not overwhelmingly available player, which we've talked about at some length. David Long has voiced his displeasure with the way that was expressed. Oh, are they ending practice 10 minutes early? What's happening here, Unc? No, they're running that looks like team. Okay, very good. 11:15 today? Oh, longer practice today. So at this point, I think I'd go with Azeez Al-Shaair. I think that's one of the reasons why people like Warren Sharp are sitting there ranking the Titans front seven 23rd out of 32, why they're justified in having questions. You're replacing, a fair amount of competency, leadership, and execution on that front seven just by nature of swapping inside linebackers out. Now, we know Kevin Byard obviously is going to be there to help get people in the right place. You know that you have other players on the field to help get people in the right alignments, communicate the play call to and from Shane Bowen as the defensive coordinator and try and get this thing operating smoothly. But, that's the inside linebacker. We talked about positions that have been denigrated, their market value over time. it's not. I mean, we see guys getting paid. Baltimore paid obviously the inside linebacker Roquan Smith. We've seen a couple of inside linebacker contracts go out at the top of the market, but they're out here trying to win with an inside linebacker that's got a lot of good tape, played for some injured players in San Francisco, 2 All-Pros in San Francisco, and Fred Warner and Dre Greenlaw, more Dre Greenlaw, and him operating in this system, having familiarity with Rand Carthon, trying to figure out this defensive situation and having to align all of his new teammates as being the newest piece of any that I can see out there currently repping in 11-on-11 drills. I think Alshare is probably my answer to that question, bud. 615-737-1045 is how you jump in on the discussion if you would like to. Which newcomer are you most interested in or needs to succeed in 2023 the most for this team to have success? DeAndre Hopkins, obviously an answer. Jackson chose Arden Key. I am going to rock with Azeez Al-Shariff, but there's, as he mentioned, 51 of the 91 players on this roster are new arrivals, and there's turnover every year on every team in the NFL. But we know that this team needed that turnover in a massive way. If you're going to continue to cite to me talent, lack thereof, as the reason why this team, beyond injury, continues to struggle the way that it does, then this kind of turnover is necessary. And we'll find out whether this collection of pieces and parts ultimately pays dividends the way that they want it to. So Tyjae Spears is going to sit down with us at 11 o'clock. They're running, well, actually, it'll be probably closer to 11:20 now, given that practice will run until about 11:15. Coach Mack is also going to be on in the 11 o'clock hour. Jackson, are we going to do Friday Fire with the press conferences? This is all kinds of pieces and parts that we have not talked about prior to this. This is what happens when Lucas leaves. Nobody knows what anybody's doing. We're directionless. We're without our rudder, which makes him seem far more important than I want him to seem. But, from time to time, he does get us to and fro.
Still need to do Friday Fire at some point. Need to get you positive.
Well, you think I've not been positive today other than bitching at Hunk for snapping at me? Yeah. Keep snapping, Hunk. Oh. about caught a ball to the face. No, that ball was aiming for your face. He probably thought that you were snapping at him the way that you were snapping at me. My back. Almost took out our own TV camera. Honestly, it would be beneficial for me to get hit in the face with an object on camera. As much as I hate that would probably do better than anything we're going to accomplish out here today.
That's fantastic.
Nope, sure not, bud. But, I am definitely inclined to do things for the clicks, and that would be a hell of a click in one way or another. A click with a broken nose. So we'll keep you updated with everything that's happening out here on the practice field. A little bit of delay in what I can tell you about what we've seen out here today, given that practice will run about 15 minutes longer. But as I said, a loaded second hour coming up. Tyjae Spears, Coach Mack, and some Friday Fire live here from Titans training camp. It's 104.5 The Zone.
It is 10:59. Good morning from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I'm Jackson Williams. Let's go around the NFL. Free agent offensive tackle Chris Hubbard is signing with the Tennessee Titans. He's a 9-year vet with starter experience and gives the Titans a tackle option while NPF is suspended 6 games under the league's gambling policy. Hubbard most recently played for the Browns, where he played in 4 games and started 1. Dolphins 6-time Pro Bowl cornerback Jalen Ramsey will undergo knee surgery and is expected to miss the start of the regular season with the injury that he suffered during yesterday's practice. Per league sources, Ramsey's ACL is intact, though, which is a positive on that front. Let's go to Cincinnati. Joe Burrow had to be carted off after suffering a non-contact injury near the end of an 11-on-11 training camp session. According to ESPN, the team believes it's a calf strain, which would sideline Burrow for the remainder of the preseason, but is not considered significant compared to other possibilities. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you need to visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Hour number 2 off and rolling. It's going to be jam-packed. We got Tyjae Spears coming by the table. We got Coach Dave McGinnis a little after that. Happy to have you here for the next couple of hours. 615-737-1045 is the number if you want to get involved. That number is going to be important to you because we are going to be giving away some Music City Grand Prix tickets in the final hour today. And we are going to make sure that you have the opportunity to participate in today's show. So you'll have to stick around until noon to find out how you can win your Big Machine Music City Grand Prix Turn 9 passes. That's a mouthful. Practice still ongoing. We'll give you some updates as soon as the team wraps up here at about 11:15. And get into some other subject matter regarding this team. We're going to preview the cornerback position today. You'll hear a little bit of what we talked about with Sean Murphy-Bunting after Wednesday's practice and kind of get his thoughts on the competition that's playing out there. You know, I've expressed to you guys my, what's the right word? My skepticism about the amount of trust, blind faith and trust that is being placed in the Titans' defense. And again, I'm not saying that hasn't been earned, but as is the case for each and every season, as things start anew, you gotta show again why it is that people should think that you're a competent unit and put together the idea that this is something that this team might be able to lean on from time to time, right? We don't know what to make of the offense. People seem more confident in the defense, and I just don't necessarily know that I'm ready to jump on board just yet. Though there are some things today that would make you feel confident in the defense. Give you some updates on that at 11:15. But the question that I want to ask you guys in the F&M Bank chat, if you would like to interact, or on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and on Twitch, as you kind of pay attention to everything that's going on at Titans camp, what's your level of confidence in this current collection of offensive linemen? 615-737-1045 is how you jump in. Added Chris Hubbard today, in case you missed the news that the team signed the veteran tackle. Been in the league for about 9 years, most recently with the Browns. George Fant goes to the Texans. I know many of you were interested in him. But what is your level of confidence in the current collection of offensive linemen? You know, as I think about this more, Skoronski, they don't have pads on yet. So it's hard for me to say that I feel the best of any of them about Skoronski at a position that he's never played at any point in his career. But you can see why Mike Vrabel, when we asked him, I think that was Tuesday, his opening press conference of training camp, why he felt that, you know, moving Skoronski at this point is not necessarily something that they wanted to get into. He is very technically sound. We knew this about him as a left tackle. We knew this about him, you know, as a high school recruit. This is a player who has done very, very well to where, you know, the arm length is something that's constantly discussed. And, of course, athletic gifts, you can't teach or coach height, weight, length, all these different speed, all these different things. But when you watch him, honestly, you feel the best about him of any other player that they're trotting out there. He's going up against, the best that they've got. He's going up against Jeff Simmons, Danico Autry. He's out there. You've got Arden Key trying to work on the inside from time to time, and Harold Landry now back in the mix. Weaver looks noticeably faster and stronger, I would say, through the first couple of days, and something we talked to him about in the spring. But of this offensive line group, I don't know that there is a player that I feel more confident in on that offensive line than the rookie right guard or left guard, who's never been a left guard at any point in his career. He was asked about the situation at Northwestern, the hazing situation that saw their head coach be fired, that has kind of dragged that program into scandal over the course of the last couple of months. Apparently there's an issue with the baseball team as well, and basically said, I really, really enjoyed my college experience, but that's not something that I have any comment on, and that's not something that I necessarily can speak to, and all these different things. How these rookies handle this particular season, where you're already leaning on so much young talent out there. I mean, and I still consider guys like, even though I shouldn't, 3 years in, 4 years in, for Christian Fulton, for example, that's a veteran corner. I shouldn't consider him a young player anymore, but there is still a lot of young talent on the team. Offense, not going to be happy about that one. I can't tell you exactly what it is. This is the worst. Sammy and Huck and Logan are all looking at me because they see exactly what I'm watching that would connote a bad vibe for the offense that just happened there on a play, but certainly one that they just made up for that's going to get the vibes back up and high. Although, I can't do play-by-play, damn it. I can't. Going to get us in trouble. The offensive line situation, I don't know that there's a rookie that I have higher expectations for than Skoronski. Talking about this on the sidelines with some of our colleagues, I think it was Rex Road and PK, and getting into the idea of, people seem to assign a lot of faith or confidence or hope or expectation or all these different things about Josh Wiley. And I'll be able to answer your questions. I know some of you guys had questions about his lack of presence out here on Wednesday. Again, I can't. All these things are embargoed until 11:15, so I'll give you the latest on him at 11:15. But, Wiley's a fifth-round pick. He's a player who is not as good a blocker as Trayvon Wesco is. He is somebody who is a wide receiver turned tight end. He plays a position where, they wouldn't let Chigakonkwo on the field basically until November because of all the things that they felt Chig needed to do or had yet to still learn or improve upon before they could put him in the starting lineup on a regular basis. So, guys like that, or Colton Dowell, or any of these other dudes that you talk about, quarterback Will Levis, running back Tyjae Spears, behind guys who are very much entrenched in their starting roles, I don't know that I have a higher expectation for any of them than Skoronski at this point. We'll take your calls. 615-737-1045 is how you join the conversation. Darrington has emerged from the shadows. He's up next. What's happening?
Hey, my friend, I hope you're out there getting some of that sun and not one of them suits with no socks on again.
Oh, no, baby. I'm out here chilling in a tent. I'm in the shade. This is the part of the facility that's got great cover. They take real nice care of me out here. Everybody else in the direct sun, though. Don't you worry.
Okay, good. We want to make sure we protect our old buckaroo. Just a quick question, though. Harold Landry, pass rusher, coming off of ACL. What's the timeline on that? How long do we go, being that I think Rashad Weaver is on his way? He's cheaper, plays a better position, he's younger. Being that Harold Landry, I know we just signed him that money, but is it maybe a year to prove it again and then maybe a possibility looking at that again? Or is it just we're here with him, we're going to ride this contract out? And I'll go back to listening to what you do best, Buck. Y'all have a good one. Stay cool, my friend.
We love to see it. Thank you for the call. 615-737-1045. I'm going to answer his question about Harold Landry and Rashad Weaver. Coming up next, we'll also have Tyjae Spears and Coach Mack. It's a good question, so we want to give ourselves a little more time to chew on it. I'm Buck Rising, live from training camp. It's 104.5 The Zone. The gambling clinic established at the University of Memphis back in 1999 by Dr. James Whalen and his staff is here to help you. If you or somebody in your life, a loved one, a family member, has experienced issues with gambling. Now, we all know that the vast majority of people gamble for fun without any problems whatsoever. But about 5% of people report having problems, whether it's financially overextending yourself. We've all been there, looked at your various sportsbook app accounts and thought, really? I'm never doing this again. I'm going to let it sit there and let it go because I've done it again to myself. Or if you're getting into arguments at home over things that gambling has caused. The Gambling Clinic is here to help you, not discourage you outright from gambling, but to help you identify those problem areas for you that you might be able to correct to get you the individual help that you need on a regular basis. TheGamblingClinic.com is where you go to find out about the process itself. The treatment is personalized to help each individual gain that competent control over the urges to gamble and build skills to gain capacity. TheGamblingClinic.com, as I mentioned, is where you find out more information about this great program that many of you have reached out to us about, as a matter of fact, and said that it has helped you. This project is funded by the Tennessee Department of Mental Health and Substance Abuse Services. Live from Titans training camp here on 104.5 The Zone. Hanging out here with you. Practice just concluded. Looks like they got another good day of work in. Tyjae Spears, rookie running back, going to sit down here with us, and we'll chop it up. As a matter of fact, the man himself has just made his way over to the tent, and we'll see how he feels about the day of work that him and his teammates got in. 615-737-1045 is the number. You can jump in at any point as you like. We'd be happy to have you. Don't forget that Coach Dave McGinnis of Titans Radio is going to be on as well in this hour. We have plenty to discuss. Looked like a lot of good reps from the defense. Rashad Weaver definitely popped to me a couple of times, but we'll get Tyjae's opinion on it here in just a second. You go ahead and put that on, big dog. How we living?
Good, man. How you doing?
Man, I'm good. I'm over here in the shade. Y'all been out there in direct sunlight.
Yeah, it's hot out there.
you got to be used to that, though. You're from Louisiana, man.
Yeah, it get a little hot. It get a little hot in Louisiana too.
No question. So, how you feel about the work y'all got in today?
I feel like it was good. We can improve. Still can improve. A lot of improvement.
So, for you, I guess spring it's also new. It's still also new, right? For the most part, like you head probably spinning a couple of different times, but this is like once you're out here on the practice field, this is the thing this thing you've been doing your entire life. Does practice and training camp kind of help take a little bit of the edge off, even though you're out there to compete, out there to perform?
Mm-hmm. You still, like you say, you're still new, so you still have a little bit of nerve, but every day, as the days go on, you're getting adjusted still, so. It's feeling, I'm feeling better and better by the day.
What's the thing that you maybe came in with the most uncertainty about that you already feel more confident about at this stage?
It's just really just taking a transition from college to the pros. You might have that uncertainty of are you able to do it? But once you hear, you see like okay, it's a lot that goes into it. But I'm willing to put in the work and Right, raise the bar.
Always. I don't know how anybody who had the kind of final season in college that you did could have any question about being able to produce at this level.
Yeah.
Y'all were nasty last year.
Yeah, we was. We was real good. It's just I always want to be humble and just take it one day and one step at a time.
Oh, I know that line very, very well. But in all seriousness, like to do what you guys did last season at Tulane. What's the thing that you're most proud of your teammates, of yourself, of the entire unit as a whole? What's the thing that kind of you take away, you look back on that time and think, I can't believe that we did that, or I'm incredibly proud that we were able to accomplish what we did?
I'm incredibly proud that we were able to accomplish the things that we did because we had went 2-10 the season before, so we made a commitment to each other. Like after we lost in Memphis, our last away game of the season, we was like, man, we finna turn it around next year, and that's what we did. And everybody bought in. We had some great leaders. It was a lot of guys, including myself. So we had a lot of great leaders. So they pushed us forward. Well, we helped push the team forward, and we got the job done.
What about that experience prepared you the most for this? Both winning 2 games the season prior, and then going to the Cotton Bowl the way that you guys did.
Say it again. I'm sorry.
What I guess did you take from those 2 years where you have such a disappointing result? You blow it out the next season. You come into the pros, and what can you take from those 2 years that might help you at the next level?
Mindset is everything. Once you put your mind to something, you really work towards, and you put the hours in, you can do it. And also, it's just the team. You willing to, if you're willing to buy in as a team and, set these goals in place and you meet these goals each and every day, by working hard, holding each other accountable, doing whatever it takes to, win, I feel like you can do it. It all starts with mindset, though.
Rookie running back Tyjae Spears over here kicking with us after practice on 104.5 The Zone. Let him go get showered and cleaned off here in just a second. I know it's always uncomfortable sitting there with a headset on after you've been sweating for an hour and a half. So what can you tell us about this team's buy-in and this team's identity right now? I know it's early as hell in training camp, and you try not to get too ahead of your skis at any given point. But for the audience who doesn't get the opportunity to come out here and watch y'all on a regular basis and is getting excited for the season, what kind of can you let them in on at this point?
I feel like they had a great coach going here, before I came, and also we still building towards it, and like we definitely working towards it. So like we definitely. Willing to put the work in and also buy into it as a team. I feel like we're gonna be off to a good start, and we're gonna have we're gonna be good.
I had Murphy Bunting over here, or I guess that would have been Wednesday after practice, and Rand came over and did a little bit of the show. They told me that Sean is a part of the shoe police in the locker room, that he's out here copping people's or scoping people's shoes out, making sure that they're right on a regular basis, scouting out people's fit. Have you been got by the shoe police yet in the locker room?
I didn't. I don't plan on being got.
No.
Either.
But you got it though. You got that though.
Yeah, I got it.
You got to figure it out.
Yeah.
So all right, I'm gonna have you evaluate mine because I hid mine under the table from him. I got my high top Nikes out here, but they're creased. Would the shoe police bust me if I was in the locker room? It's tough. Because it's training camp.
Like
you try not to wear shoes like that out here.
Yeah, man, you seem like you cool, but they're going to definitely get you, though. They're going to definitely get you.
Just the crease?
Yeah.
Like get popped? Man,
yeah, they got
that
you.
ain't right.
Yeah, they got you, man.
So when you guys are, spending time around each other and obviously getting to know your new teammates, getting to know your new rookie class, what's something that you know now about one of your teammates that you might not necessarily, or that you've enjoyed getting to know about them and over the course of the last couple months you all spent together?
It just seemed like all the rookies, we all just be having fun. Everybody like to joke around, and I still feel like we still in college. We build with each other. We any uncertainties or anything that we have about what we got going on for the day and things like that, we get together. Just like yesterday, we had to wake up at like 6 o'clock in the morning and come up with jokes for the team. So yeah, they own us about that. We've been saying some bad jokes, but
well, that's because your head coach. Now I'll say it because he's your boss, but that's because your head coach thinks he's funny.
Yeah, I don't really know.
He's all kinds of funny.
Yeah, but like things like that, we collaborate together, and I feel like we're gonna stick it out together.
Who's the best joke teller?
Who's the best joke teller? But TK had a joke the other day. It was so funny. TK McClendon.
The defensive lineman for the audience who may not be familiar. Who's the worst?
Who's the worst? Josh Wally. Oh my God.
Actually, now
he said something the other day that was like, what are you talking about?
Was it the delivery or was it the joke?
I don't know. It was like super long. Then he kind of lost everybody. Then it was like, well, I was like, huh? But I can definitely be bad sometimes.
Yeah.
Too. Yeah, I can be bad too.
Well, it happens. Tyjae Spears out here hanging out with us on 104.5 The Zone. So you're coming into the league. Running back is obviously a big topic of conversation. Derek is going to speak, I'm sure, at the podium, and he's going to be asked the exact same question. What do you make of what's going on with your peers in the NFL right now? And it's all very, very new, obviously, so want to make sure the audience keeps that in mind. But I guess how do you process that as somebody who's coming in with this position at this particular time when it's all that's in the news?
Honestly, I'm a part of the situation, but I'm also I'm new to the league, so I'm just really trying to establish myself before I try to, indulge into stuff like that. But I'm just trying to make the most out of my opportunity while I got it, because I can be somewhere else right now not doing this. So I got to be blessed with what I got. I can't complain about, the things that I don't have right now, because what I came from and what I've been through, it's a blessing just to be here, in this setting.
No question. It's just to look at that. It must take kind of some mental compartmentalization, right? Mm-hmm. To have that approach, because at least and maybe I'm the wrong sample size. I do talk radio for a living. It's my nature to be reactionary, right? But to kind of process that and then realize, okay, I'm not yet Derrick Henry, or I'm not yet Saquon Barkley. These guys who are taking the stand that they have for this position, and kind of understand, okay, I've got to get there first before I can really have my voice or my play speak for itself in a way that lends itself to the conversation.
Yeah, that's how I definitely feel. You just gotta establish yourself. You can't be making all these complaints, and when it's Sundays or Mondays or Thursdays, and you don't do what you do on those days, your complaint doesn't matter, because people want to hear from the people that's front lining. So that the people that's doing it, like Derrick Henry, they probably want to hear from him. But it's just me. I'm just not there yet. And just focusing on how I can get better on and off the field, as a player and as a person.
Every time we talk to you, or that we've had the opportunity to talk to you collectively, it's the first time you and I sat down. But you bring up how grateful you are because of where you've come from and the background and one of 9, correct?
Uh-huh.
That's not something that a lot of people can identify with that'll be listening to the radio show today. What, in as much detail as you're willing to, can you kind of explain to people what exactly that background entails and how it brought you to be the person and to give you the drive that you clearly have at this point in your life?
It's just growing up, just facing a lot of adversity at home, in school and also on the field. Like, of course, y'all heard about my knee situation, torn ACL twice. Just the battle from that, and just a lot of physical adversity, but also a lot of mental adversity. Like a lot of questioning yourself, and also a lot of days that you don't feel like doing it. But like I've been through so much, man. I gotta be grateful because anybody else was given the cause that I was there, they probably would have been quit.
I mean, most do. Based on percentages, you probably know some people who have, might have had the same window or might have had similar gifts or something like that. You've probably seen some stuff like that around,
Yeah, I did.
I think that when, at least, and I'm not asking you to speak on anybody else's situation, but like one of my colleagues over here and I were talking about Traylon. And Traylon had some struggles early on in his rookie minicamp here and comes out on the other side, a completely physically different player, has had that adversity in his life. And, I'm sure he's been through adversity in his life too. But sometimes is that the only thing that can prepare you for the kind of opportunity like this, to have that kind of check or checks at certain points in your career, building up to what, is the opportunity that so many other people work their entire lives to get and ultimately don't?
Yeah, that's how I be feeling too. Just probably just say if I didn't go through half of the things that I went through, like, will I still be the same person? So like you also got to be you got to be thankful for the good and bad, because you don't really learn too much when you're doing good. You gonna learn, but you learn more when you losing or doing bad, because you learn who with you learn your next approach that you got to take, and you learn what to do and what not to do. So just definitely grateful for everything.
No question. What are you about to do now?
Catch some jugs.
All right, well, get after it. We appreciate you sitting down with us.
All right, man, I appreciate you.
Tyjae, it's good to have you. We'll catch up with Titans head coach Mike Vrabel a little later on. You'll hear his press conference on 104.5 The Zone. Coach Mack will join us here in just a little bit to give us his observations. He's been watching on high. Mack's got a lot better vantage point than the rest of us do during practice, so I'm sure with that eagle-eye view and what we know Coach Mack's insights and analysis will be, you're going to get some good stuff from that man. Great stuff, I thought, there from Tyjae. Guy is really introspective, and a lot of dudes have backgrounds that are different or that are difficult. And when I think it's just a humanizing conversation when you hear somebody, when you can hear it in their voice, somebody who's got that real life experience. That to me always resonates, especially at his position, man. Like I was curious as to how he might respond to the running back question right now, given that everything that's going on around the running back position. And that's the approach that somebody like Tyjae Spears probably has to have. I'm not there yet. I'm not Derrick Henry. I'm not Saquon Barkley. I have to gut it out in this league before I can take a stand for the position that the rest of these guys are. But we'll have more time to talk about running backs and things of that nature. In fact, we might do some of that right now with our main man, Coach Dave McGinnis, who's here with us on 104.5 The Zone. Mac, it's been a couple of weeks since we caught up. I've been lacking on these Fridays. I'm sorry.
Well, it's not your fault, Buck. I understand. The big money's hard to hide.
Listen, I can't imagine how few weekends you get on a regular basis at this point, given all your various obligations. So damn well I'm going to try to squeeze as much into as many as we had left before this thing all kicked off again.
Yeah, I was just listening. I'm just leaving practice because I've got a meeting at lunch here downtown. But listening to Tyjae Spears, it just, that does my heart good as a former coach just to hear him, because the 13 years I coached in major college football, Buck, I recruited inner city schools all across this country. And all of the accomplishments I've had in my lengthy coaching career, some of the best feelings I have I just talked to LeVar Woods today, that was out there at practice.
Yeah.
That was a high school teammate of Kyle Vandenbosch that I signed as a free agent when I was there at Arizona. I mean, but the kids that you give a chance to, and he said that, and he's a very successful. He's on his path to being a head coach, in major college football now. And he said it. He said, Coach Mack, you're the only one that took a chance on me. And then, it makes you feel good knowing that regardless of records or any of that stuff, the help that you're able to give these players coming from sometimes the circumstances that they come from and watching them overcome that and then be able to, to uplift generations of their family to another spot. I mean, that's important. And what Tyjae Spears was saying was true. I mean, he was very, very honest with you, and that was refreshing for me.
Well, Mac, you do enough of these player interviews, I feel like you understand where they're going to go and where they won't go, right? Especially with a rookie and a media vulture like me. You put a headset on him right after practice. You're asking him all kinds of questions about running back positional value and things like that. And it just, I'd rather have a more human conversation with them than have the same conversation that they're going to have for the rest of the season with us at scrums around the locker room and things like that,
Sure. Well, it was, it showed who he was, and that's why he's where he is right now. And as I say, for 13 years, I recruited, a lot of kids and gave a lot of kids like him a chance, and have watched them go on and be prosperous in this business. And you got to pull for a guy like that. The other thing is he can play.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll look forward to seeing what dividends on the field they will get from Tyjae Spears
Absolutely.
as this continues on. So who's doing themselves a favor out here on the practice field right now, Mac? I know you've been out here a lot more than we have. Obviously, you had a bird's eye view from what I could tell today, looking on from down high. What did you take away from day 2 of Titans camp that we were allowed to be out here?
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm there every day, and first of all, that's I've got to be able to have it so I can tell what they're doing. You can't. The worst position to watch a football game if you're trying to evaluate is from the sideline, because it's a one-dimensional shot. I mean, that's all you get. The end zone's a little bit better, but other than watching tape where you can run it back for the high view and the side view, that's the best, is to be up there to be able to see structurally, what's going on. I mean, it's still early. It's still keep your powder dry time, but I like what I'm seeing with the tempo and the pace of this offense. I really am. And then it goes without saying, you can tell the difference that Hopkins made. He made a couple of adjustments today with the pressure, pressure defense, and it was a backside thing that he and Tannehill were so much in sync. I mean, immediately. I go, wow, there's a difference. There's a veteran player that recognized something that was going on the opposite side of where he was. He adjusts the route. I mean, those types of things are intrinsically so valuable, especially to a young receiver room. They're practicing with a lot of energy. And Mike Vrabel and his staff, Buck, you've been to watch enough of his practices. I've been at enough practices in 38 years. He doesn't waste any time. They're not wasting any time out there, and I'm enjoying watching. We saw, today. I mean, you're going to see different dudes at that right tackle spot.
Yeah.
For a while until they get settled in on that. But right now, I like the energy that they're practicing with, and I really, really like the fact that, DeAndre Hopkins. If you are even in tune with the National Football League, you know that he's an accomplished veteran. But to watch him do those little things just like that today, and to see he and Tannehill be in that much of a sync after one day, those things you recognize, but you recognize them by experience. And that was an experienced quarterback and an experienced receiver doing something that had to be adjusted on the run, and it was.
Yeah, what's not to like? Coach Dave McGinnis is on the phone with us, reacting to what we've seen from a couple of days of Titans training camp thus far. Derrick Henry is at the podium currently. We'll get you his comments after we wrap up with Mac here today. I mean, yeah, to your point, Mac, what's not to like about the DeAndre Hopkins experience, what you've seen with Ryan Tannehill? But, I think the thing that the Hopkins addition makes so much sense to me is how much burden it takes. I mean, these guys are going to still be expected to perform around Ryan Tannehill and around DeAndre Hopkins, but the amount of burden that alleviates on so many young skill position players that this offense was going to still needs to produce, but how much easier it becomes when you have a player like that you know you can rely upon down in and down out.
Yeah, well, it's a different chain progression now.
Yeah.
I mean, it completely alters the chain progression, which is important because they all are going to have to work together. But where the front link of that chain is different, and then you can build around that. And if you've got a guy with that much experience, well, then everybody else can start to slot in and start to get, have favorable matchups as far as to what they want to do. I mean, yes, it was big, and you know this. We've got sophisticated listeners. That's why I love the listeners that listen to 104.5 The Zone, that listen to Titans Radio. I mean, they want to be educated fans, and they want to be fans that know the difference. And when you say, well, how can one guy make such a difference if you've got 53 guys out there? Well, they do, but they do if they're experienced, and that can lift everything. And we're seeing it just in a small look right now, and I'm very excited to watch this progress through this preseason, Buck.
No question. Mac, with Rashad Weaver in particular, I don't know how much time you spent watching him individually. Obviously, you're watching these things every day. You have better access than the rest of us for obvious reasons. But, I mean, it is notable to me how much bigger and just stronger and faster he looks out on the field.
Well, he got married to iron this off season, and that's important. I mean, he realized what he needed. Look, this guy's always been a high energy player. His motor goes, and he's always been a speed to power guy. But when you're consistently pushing against offensive linemen in this league the way they are, if you are a speed to power guy, you need massive strength, and you also need endurance. And that's, as I say, he got married to the iron in this off season, and you can tell it. I mean, you can tell it quite a bit. You're correct, and when you just look at him physically, but if you watched him through the progression of the time he's been here, which I've done, which you've done, and I get to see him every day, it's a difference. But he did kind of like what Traylon did. He asked and he found out, and then he put into practice what he asked that he needed to work on. Because none of that comes by accident. Traylon sat down at the end of the season with Rob Moore, then with Mike Vrabel, and with Frank Perino, and then said, "What do I need to do? What do I need to do to get into this league to where I want to be?" And Rashad did the same thing. So that's what you like to see, because most of the success, if not all of the success in the National Football League, as you continue to stack years on your career, comes from what you do in the off season and doing the right things for you. And as I said, that marriage between he and iron in the weight room this year made a huge difference.
Coach Dave McGinnis of Titans Radio, kind enough as always to give us some of his time. It's very, very valuable time. In fact, Mac had to whisk away from practice onto his next event. So we're grateful for any time that we get to chop it up and talk some ball with the main man. Mac, always a pleasure to catch up with you. I'm sure I'll see you. You'll be out here tomorrow, yeah?
Buck, I'm there every day, brother.
I know, bud. I'll see you tomorrow.
See you, man.
Have fun
Thanks,
at your lunch.
Buck. See you. Yeah, see you.
That's the main man, Coach Dave McGinnis. All right, Derrick Henry is at the podium. He's as passionate as I've ever seen him based on the clips that are coming out of this. We will play for you a part of that press conference coming up next. You'll also hear from head coach Mike Vrabel as well as Harold Landry. I'm Buck Rising, live from Titans training camp. It's 104.5 The Zone. As we age, our bodies begin to change. The Tennessee Men's Clinic is here to help you in that support system that you need as you age, to make sure that you have the proper people in place to help you make sure you're performing like you need to be, or get you back to performing like you haven't in years. A lot of guys, as they age, as our bodies change, deal with things like erectile dysfunction. The Tennessee Men's Clinic has so many different options for you to seek the best treatment path for you as an individual, because no one size fits all. They have an experienced staff who will help you with a treatment path that makes the most sense for you to find the best solution to your respective problems. The Tennessee Men's Clinic has 2 locations, downtown Nashville and their newest offices in Cool Springs. To find out more about everything that it is that they have to offer, go to theTennesseeMen'sClinic.com.
Buck Rising Show, 104.5, The Zone. Joe Hunk. Sammy hanging out. How's it going?
What's up? You know, I'm excited to be hanging out with you.
It's amazing what happens when Buck actually walks away as he is he's headed over. He's made about the 70-yard walk as the King speaking right now. We're going to be joining in with that here in just a few seconds. Coach Vrabel still has to talk. Harold Landry still has to talk. So we will be talking and listening to those guys as everything has wrapped up for practice today. Now, what's great is this, with the way that practices went, now we can actually talk about things.
Right.
We actually can on this. So a lot of things did happen. For a heads up, whenever Buck just a little while ago was discussing what was happening on the field in the football that flew over here. So we can actually talk about this now.
We can.
Yes.
We can.
So yeah, Buck's giving me crap, and then it's that very moment that Tannehill makes the throw over and almost hits me, Buck, and Sammy all at the same time.
Yeah, no, it's fine. I kind of agreed with Buck, though. I wish that he would have gotten hit in the face. Not necessarily him, just I think it would have made great video.
No, it's cool to say him. It's totally cool to say him.
I will say in 8th grade, I once got hit by a basketball on the face, and it was the most embarrassing thing. It's very hard to embarrass me, and that was the most embarrassing thing I think I've ever gone through in my entire life. So I really do not wish that upon anyone else ever. But it would have made for a great live stream.
Oh, it absolutely would have. We'd have been able to go viral with that. I mean, there's been times where that has happened. Matter of fact, it happened down in Auburn a few years ago. The girl that was catching the kickoffs, I mean, she just got popped right in the face. She even got to do a Tosh.0 web redemption on that. So we had that. Well, what everybody was talking about when we all said that we can't do play-by-play for radio is the fact that the very next play, Tannehill, great play that he had to D-hop. D-hop makes the catch, but his feet were out of bounds. So that's the reason why we weren't going to say anything about what's going on. But I believe Derrick Henry is ready. Everything is good for him over underneath the roof over there at Ascension St. Thomas Sports Park. I mean, it has a roof. Sorry, Slay. It has a roof. So let's go over and hear what the King has to say about practice on day 2 here on the field from Ascension St. Thomas Sports Park.
It's good.
Did you do anything with your daughter? Any vacations?
No, not this year. Probably next year. We're going to plan something, take her Disney and do some other trips.
Derek, you were on that Zoom call. You had a tweet that for you it expressed more emotion than we're used to seeing out of you about the value of running backs. How do you handle that at this point? Is it focus on camp, or do you keep an eye on what the other running backs are doing and on that pay front?
Oh yeah, I actually started the group message, and just trying to get us together as a camaraderie to start something up to help the market, to help guys that's been tagged this year, and on that Zoom call, having good dialogue, definitely revisiting that and do it again, just any way that we can help each other as a group, and to try to better the market for us in the near future. And but when you come to work, you got to focus and do the things you need to do to be a better player and be a great teammate and help your team. So come out here and improve.
The advantage of this, the fact that you guys can get on the field and remind people, hey, we do matter. The running game does still matter in the NFL.
Yeah, definitely. I just try to think of the future. Like I said, the guys that got tagged, I got tagged and had to go through that process. And it's tough right now. You feel what I'm saying? So just want to do anything possible to help show our value, do it on the field, but definitely, try to be together as a movement to improve the situation. Because there's been times where the running back sometimes touches the ball more than the quarterback. Have y'all witnessed it? I'm pretty sure y'all have. So, so just trying to show we are valuable as any other position. They use us in commercials and all over the place, and we just want our share due.
DeAndre said that you were a big reason that he came and signed with the Titans. What role did you play in any recruitment process of him?
We got to work out during the off season. He was in Dallas for a little bit, came by the gym, and we talked, and got to work out and got better. But definitely DeAndre is somebody that always wanted to play with. Big fan of his game,
And during the process, we were trying to make a decision, and I was a little salty when I seen him in the picture with the Patriots, and I tried to keep my distance as much as possible, check in every now and then to see what was going on. But happy and glad he finally made the decision to come here, and happy to be a teammate.
Derek, so you organized that call with the running backs? Is that right?
Yeah, I didn't organize the call. I started a group message, and Austin Eckler, he took it over and organized the call with the PA.
So did you guys come away with anything that can be actionable, anything that you guys can do to help change it or make us better?
I think it's just putting our messages out there, revisiting the subject throughout the season, keeping track of guys, trying to help each other as much as possible. I thought that was a great start, having that Zoom call and having dialogue and guys speaking to the media, being outspoken on how they feel and about everything and seeing the situation. So I think it's a start, but I think what we did is headed in the right direction.
What do you feel like we're trying to do a lot, Derek? And if you reach out to these guys individually too to support them, tell them to hang in there, can you describe maybe how that goes behind the scenes?
Yeah. Well, I just saw that tweet that I replied to that everybody saw, and you're crazy. And at some point, we got to say something. We got to stand up for one another. So I just put a group message of all the top guys and all the RBs, and just had open dialogue. Everybody writing and saying how they feel, and hopefully we get more and more guys on board and be a part of it, and it be something big, and hopefully changes to come.
Do you be interested in doing something like the tight ends do, like a tight end U, because they just put their name out there so much, and the importance of that position, I guess?
Yeah, definitely. I think that'd be big, because there's so many legendary RBs that have so much knowledge, and if we were able to start something like that and have them come out, just have like a weekend, a couple of days to suck up that knowledge from those guys and their experiences. I think that'd be great because I know a lot of guys to look up to, and all the stories, all the highlights, and all the great things we heard about them. It'd be cool to spend a weekend with them and be a sponge to all the things they learn.
Do you think kids who are great running backs, maybe someone like you in high school now, might choose linebacker, be more likely to try to look at another position?
They better.
Running back?
They better choose it how it's going right now, but no, we're trying to change it. But I just tell kids to follow your heart. Whatever you have a desire in, a passion, and what makes you most excited about the game and the position, you play that, and that's something you want to do, and something you want to pursue, you want to be great at, and go do that. And I just want to be a light and somebody they can look up to that's trying to change the platform of running backs and trying to get our share due and try to do what's right.
Do you think you've been underpaid in your career?
Do I think I've been underpaid? I don't think so much underpaid, but I just think that the market's going down. So I just think, guys who've been playing at a high level, playing at an elite level, the game is based on production. And if you've been productive at a high level, consistently, then I think you should get your share due. I mean, you see these other positions that you hear about the stars, the superstars who've been productive, playing at a high level, some of the best in the league. They're getting these big contracts and getting their share due. And as a running back, we want the same thing. And that tag position, I was tagged, and we had to negotiate at a deadline. So I know how Josh, Saquon, and Tony and all those guys feel. So I just wanted to get a group together and try to start something, and I'm glad we did.
Derek, going back to that, there were a lot of people at that time saying, well, you just don't pay a running back. Why would you pay him? Obviously, it worked out well for the time. Do you feel like that story is at least something to show people actually you pay a running back and it can work out?
Hopefully, I just try to come out and work and be the best teammate and the best player that I can and improve my worth. And I feel like hopefully I'm a guy that, teams can look at and be like, it is a possibility. And there's some good backs out there that are doing the same thing. I know it's hard because we get hit a lot. Our career span is probably shorter than others, but still at the same time, when you have that window and these guys are being special and they're great talent, and they're making plays, and they're a franchise player, I feel like they should get their share due. Just because our time span just is not as long as others. It's a game of injuries. You're gonna get hit. Injuries going to happen. But at the end of the day, as long as you have a guy that comes in, does what he's supposed to do, represent the organization in the first class way, then I feel like there should be no question.
Do you think the amount of touches that running backs get is overblown? Where it's like, yourself, you get 300 plus carries. Saquon had 300 plus last year. Now look at that. Do you think that's overblown, where they feel like that's too much wear and tear?
Well, I think at the running back position, the more carries that we get, you can have, like Nick Chubb said, we talked about that. You can run for 2,000 yards, and 2,000 yards is great, but everybody else is looking at the carries. So if you have 380 or 400 plus carries, that's the thing that everybody looks at. So no matter what we do, it seems like even if we are productive when it comes to negotiating, it's kind of like used against us, at that point. So all you can do is just try to be the best player you can, and hopefully the team understands your value and appreciate you trying to do the best you can to carry the load to help your team improve, win games, and hopefully get to the Super Bowl.
What do you think of the King Derrick Henry here at Ascension St. Thomas Sports Park, talking about running backs. Interesting comments that he made about kids that potentially could be either a linebacker or a running back, in which direction that they could potentially go. Joe Hunk, Sammy Kincaid, we're here hanging out on the Buck Rising Show as Buck is over at the press conferences. Harold Landry is about to speak with the media. We'll have more when we come back on the Buck Rising Show. 104.5 The Zone.
It is 12:03. Good afternoon from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I'm Jackson Williams. Let's go around the NFL. The Titans have signed free agent offensive tackle Chris Hubbard. He's a 9-year vet with starters experience and gives the Titans a tackle option, while Nicholas Petit-Frere is suspended 6 games under the league's gambling policy. Hubbard most recently played for the Browns, where he played 4 games and started 1. All right, let's go to Miami. Dolphins 6-time Pro Bowl corner Jalen Ramsey will undergo knee surgery and is expected to miss the start of the regular season with the injury that he suffered during today's practice, per league sources. Ramsey's ACL is intact, though, which is a positive for that situation. Let's go down to Cincinnati, where Joe Burrow had to be carted off after suffering a non-contact injury near the end of an 11-on-11 training camp session. According to ESPN, the team believes it's a calf strain, which should sideline Burrow for the preseason, but is not considered significant compared to other possibilities. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you need to visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
That's a final hour here from training camp. It is concluded. You're going to hear the rest of Titans running back Derrick Henry's press conference before you hear from outside linebacker Harold Landry at the podium. So we go back to Derrick Henry now at St. Thomas Sports Park.
Protect us. I understand it. It's not very fashionable, but we got to wear it. That's the rules.
Was there a time in this off season that you looked at what they did in the draft and some of the guys that they let go, like Ben and Taylor and Bud, that had contributed here, and felt like this team was in transition? And do you feel like they've addressed most of the needs that they've had?
No, I wish, we could have kept those guys. The guys are my brother, but things happen the way it's supposed to. That's the business side. I don't try to get too caught up in the business side. Just focus on what I need to do and let them do their job and see what we need to help improve our team, and plug those guys in and go out there and try to execute and improve while we're out here. And that's all I can do, is just worry about what my job is and try to help every guy out here be the best player they can be as a teammate.
How you feel, Derrick, physically, mentally heading into year 8, and how you like the group that's maybe around you on offense?
Oh yeah, I feel good, man. I'm glad to be back. Got a lot of new faces around here. Guys getting to get used to our culture and what we do around here. That they've been doing a great job. All you can ask guys to do is to show up, be present, be attentive in meetings, and come out here and let it show on the field by the way you work each and every day.
Derrick, you kind of alluded to it, but how do you go about compartmentalizing what you need to do to get ready for this year versus what the future may hold out for?
Yeah, I can't worry about that. I got to take it one day at a time and trust in my training and trust in what I've been doing, and go out there and be me and let everything take care of itself. I pray and then let everything else happen the way it's supposed to. Everything happens for a reason, but just take it one day at a time, continue to want to improve and get better every day, and then let the chips fall where they may.
Doing that Zoom call make you think a little bit more about next year, or are you kind of just thinking about everything else when you're talking together on backs?
Yeah, no, not really. We're just trying to send a message out, trying to be stronger together to help one another when that time comes, and be vocal about it pretty much throughout the season, and just focus on the now. When you're here, it's your job, so you got to focus on your job and doing your job to perfection as close as you can, and then when that time comes, worry about that.
Was Nick Saban really talking with you about being a linebacker when you got to Alabama?
No, it probably was a thought in his head at the time, but I probably switched it as time went on. So, but he's a defensive-minded coach, so I'm probably sure he had visions of me being on the defense side of the ball.
What kind of linebacker would you have been?
I've been probably a Ray Lewis type.
Hey, somebody asked me from my mailbag, how many 5-year-olds would it take to tackle these?
Man, I saw that. They are crazy. They be coming up with all type of stuff. I don't know. How about y'all get y'all kids and we'll see what. If I sponsor 5-year-olds and see how it goes. But people all say all type of stuff like that, man.
How many media members?
How many what?
Media members.
Y'all come on, we can go right now. Let's go.
I'm smart enough not to.
Hey, Derrick, you said when Arden came in, like, that man crazy. Like, He is great. Like, he's yelling from start to finish of practice. Just what is it like even to have on the opposite side somebody kind of pestering and kind of stirring up things defensively to push the offense?
Yeah, he has energy every day. He brings the energy, something that we need on both sides of the ball. Somebody who's high energy, gets everybody going. And, the competition on offense and defense is always great when you got guys over there that bring that high energy and bring that intensity to practice.
Thanks, Eric. Thanks.
All right.
That was Derrick Henry at the podium here at Ascension St. Thomas Sports Park. As he walks off, Harold Landry walks up. Let's hear from the outside linebacker for the first time in over a year here on the Buck Rising Show.
I know it's a process, but
yeah, I mean, it's a long process. I mean, like, throughout it, you're definitely frustrated a little bit because, there's times you're doing everything you can and you feel like you're kind of staying the same, but then out of nowhere, you just stick to the plan, trust the people you're working with, and you make those jumps out of nowhere. And, now being where I'm at, it feels great. I don't even think about it when I'm out there on the field, which is awesome. So, kudos to all the people I've been working with and the time and energy we've put in because it feels great.
What motivated you to go ahead, John?
In terms of making those steps, when did you start feeling confident that, the knee was going to be okay, that nothing was going to happen? When did that sort of kick in?
Sometime this off season, to be honest. Like, I was out here doing full speed stuff in the off season, so I would imagine before then. But no, it's felt good for a while. Now, I'm just, continuing to do what I do, making sure, that I'm ready to go out here and, practice, get these reps in live action.
What did you use as motivation through those hard days where it seemed like, I guess the rehab and all would never end?
Honestly, just trust, working with the people here. I stayed here all offseason working with them. They kept my head, in a good space. And I don't know, I just feel like I'm a resilient guy, and I just feel like I knew at the end of the day that I was going to come back stronger from this. And, I just look at examples across the league, but, Nick Bosa is a guy that continuously came into my head, with what he did. And then, he came back and balled out and then balled out even more the next year. So, expectations are high, you know what I'm saying? And, I worked my ass off to get to this point, and the people in here have helped me so much. So I just feel like, I feel great.
Reach out to some guys across the league and do that?
No, I mean, I just talked to guys here like Ryan, Taylor, all the guys that have been through this. And it's just a weird process, and everybody's timetable is different. And, I just had to, like I said, just keep trusting the plan that was put in place for me. And like I said, I feel great, and that's what it's all about.
You said it was a contact, or can you talk us through what happened?
When I tore my – nah, man, I don't really focus on the past like that. I'm forward. What happened was I tore it a while ago, and now it's damn near perfect.
We see you out here without the brace on, and then talking to Coach Vrabel, he said that, each day is going to be how your knee has responded. Each time you challenge it, like, how has your knee responded as far as to make you be able to be out here without the brace?
No, it's responding good. It's feeling great pretty much every day, to be honest. And obviously, like, I'm doing stuff all day, every day to make sure I'm staying on top of it. But, yeah, no, it's responding good. And, like he said, the goal is just to keep increasing and keep ascending.
What do you think about the new guys, whether it's Arden Key, Aziz, some of the newcomers on the defense, and how that makes it better?
Yeah, no, I mean, they've been awesome. Not just like, you see them flash on the field, consistently, but it's also like they're a culture fit here, in the meeting rooms and in the locker room, they're awesome to be around, and they fit in here well. Like, it's one thing to be able to contribute out there on the field, but to be able to contribute in the locker room and, to fit in with what, how we do things here, that's a big thing, and they for sure, they fit that here. We met at Exos when we were training for the Combine. But yeah, no, we go all the way back to, I think it was 2018. I've kind of watched him from afar grow into the player he is now. Arden's awesome to be around. Like, it's insane. Like, as soon as he steps in the door, energy, and it's awesome. He's a really cool guy.
is watching film, maybe work you did in the classroom, and will you think that'll pay off this year?
Yeah, for sure. Just from like a hand standpoint, like obviously like it's been a while since, I've been able to go out here and do live action against, another player. So obviously it'll probably take me a week or so throughout this camp, with the type of player I am, to get that timing down with, my hands and my footwork and stuff like that, which is fine. But no, I just feel like I've improved from a standpoint of just like enhancing my pass rush moves, but also like taking a step in the new things in new techniques. I ain't trying to say too much, but in new techniques.
When the defense wins a play out there, you're in the backfield, it would be a dead play. Offense keeps playing, does something big, celebrates like they won the play. You guys laugh about that amongst yourselves? I know Jeff will be loud about it sometimes.
Yeah, no, I mean, when you cut the film on, who won that rep. But yeah, I mean, Braves has to structure the practice in a way for like everybody's getting work in regardless of the end result of a certain play. But like, we know when we cut the film on like who won which rep.
You see some of the new faces here and some of the old familiar faces gone. Did it ever feel like that this team maybe was in a bit of transition this offseason?
Nah, I mean, I never thought that. I mean, obviously people outside of the building, I feel like kind of sleep on us, but we're a confident group of guys here in the locker room, and we know what we have and what we bring to the table. It's the whole transitioning and stuff like that never crossed my mind at all. I mean, it sucks, don't get me wrong, but like, that's the NFL. I mean, the turnover's crazy. Braves and Rand, they're trying to put together the most competitive roster, and they're doing what they think can get us to that point, and that's just how it is in the NFL.
Aside from trying to get healthy, is anything different this offseason? You bigger, you change your diet, feel stronger?
I'm definitely stronger, more explosive, for sure, faster. I mean, I would say I was definitely probably just more strict on my diet because I'm like into that stuff, and I was just doing everything possible to like make my knee feel better the next day.
You mentioned how you miss Big Jeff talking trash. How much trash was he talking out there today in the last couple of days?
Oh, I mean, it's really an all day, every day thing with him, but I mean that's just who he is, man. He does that all the time, man. He sets the tempo for our defense and this team, so I'm definitely glad to be back around him. Appreciate it.
Outside linebacker Harold Landry on the Buck Rising Show, just wrapping up his press conference from Ascension St. Thomas Sports Park. When we come back, more on the Buck Rising Show, 104.5 The Zone.
Welcome back live from Titans training camp. Though training camp has concluded for the day, Buck Rising hanging out here with you. Thanks to Sammy and Joe for holding it down during the press conferences. Heard a lot from Harold Landry and Derrick Henry. Nick Suss of the Tennessean has decided to sit down and do a little reaction with us. What's happening, bud?
Yeah, just stormed the set, and here I am.
Yeah, you're a real storm the set kind of guy, be honest with you. But in all seriousness, we learned a lot today. You have been on this beat for, you said, 9 months?
Just about, yeah.
And I believe that was your first interaction with Harold Landry?
First time.
And you have been warned about how poorly Harold Landry typically reacts in media settings.
And today he reacted perfectly fine.
He's great.
He was great. He was absolutely great.
He's swell. I told Nick we were walking over here, I said, that's as good as it's ever going to get. Derrick, too, to be honest with you. Both of them, animated and engaged in ways that we are not typically accustomed to. But let's start with Derrick. That's top of mind.
Yeah.
His comments on the running back, the state of the running back situation. I had Tyjae Spears over here. His answer was basically, listen, man, I haven't been in the league long enough to be commenting on this. I said, you know what, that's completely fair. Derrick is one of the few who has cashed in on one of these second contracts, at least in this generation of current top running backs. What did you make of the way that Henry responded to the questions today?
Yeah, I was really curious coming in if his concern about the future of the running back position had more to do with the altruism of the rest of the league or more to do with his contract due up this year, going for the third contract. And it really seemed like he was going from the goodness of his heart. This was a very altruistic stance he was taking. He really thought, hey, I've been through the franchise tag. I've been through what Josh Jacobs and Saquon Barkley and Tony Pollard are going through.
People forget he got tagged.
That stunk.
Yeah.
And he doesn't want that to happen. He knows how it kind of feels when the position gets devalued. And I really like the point he made. I think Nick Chubb told him about running back's the only position where you get dinged for producing.
Yeah.
Where you can run for 2,000 yards, and that can be a bad thing in negotiations. And it's really intelligent. It's really complicated thought for these guys to say, hey, we need to stick together because our entire position, we're being told we're replaceable. And we can think of all these examples. I think C.J. Anderson's the first one that comes to mind of guys coming off the street and starting a Super Bowl. I mean, it happens.
I mean, hell, they replaced Derrick Henry for about 9 weeks, 8 or 9 weeks. They replaced Derrick Henry effectively, if not, he's not Dontrell Hilliard, Deontay Foreman, not Derrick Henry, obviously, but they found an approximation of a rushing attack that was good enough for them to be able to succeed and achieve the number 1 overall seed that season.
Yeah, and when that is what you're up against at a position where not anyone off the street obviously can play running back, but somebody with that skill set who's played it at college or played it in the now AAF, XFL, all these available leagues, there is some fear that teams are going to skimp where the salary cap's at, and we see how much the value of receivers going up, the value of an offensive lineman's going up. I mean, look what happened to the market for right guards this year. Every other position is getting more and more expensive against the cap. Something needs to be sacrificed, and running back and probably inside linebacker and maybe even tight end, some of these positions you're seeing kind of get skimped on where teams say, oh, we can pick up some 6th rounder, Elijah Mitchell with the 49ers, and get the production that you'd get from picking Bijan Robinson in the top 10.
My age-old nemesis, the lawnmower, the post-practice lawnmower, has returned to the practice field to me. Terry Porch and their grounds crew, always very good at what they do, but always seeking to undermine, not seeking, but actively undermining us in the noon hour. Have we made the conversation too binary around the running backs? Because, you bring up Mitchell and Pacheco and these kind of guys. Scheme is not being accounted for to the best of my knowledge in the larger form of the debate, right? This is being talked about in places like First Take, and I think I talked about this the other day. It's not an indictment on anybody other than our collective society as a whole that the debate culture often defaults to the dumbest form of the argument.
Sure.
But are we making this conversation too binary around that position? Because there's plenty of positions that have had this argument in years past. Hell, we're not that far removed from Kevin Byard being a part of this conversation at the time when he was getting ready to basically reset the position group.
I don't know. It's real tricky with these guys because the Falcons being the example everyone talks about with Algier and Bijan Robinson. I don't know. If you're a run-first team and you think having Bijan Robinson is an upgrade over Tyler Algier, do it. Do the thing that's going to make your team the best. You can look at Cleveland right now, and Nick Chubb has been this team's offense for 3 or 4 years, and that's what works for them. Obviously, Derrick Henry here is what works for them. If you can build an offense that's going to succeed in the NFL around these guys, do it. I think the teams, if you look at the big running back contracts in the last 5-10 years, Henry included, I don't think you're going to find too many examples where a team signed a big running back and weren't at least competitive.
Yeah.
Teams don't sign big running backs unless they think they got a chance to win. And I think back to the Todd Gurley example being the one that everybody's probably going to point out as you paid him and he completely fell off the cliff after 2 years. Sure, but you went to a Super Bowl.
It ignores the fact that that offense was specifically, I mean, listen, Jared Goff within the context of that offense, of that scheme, McVay and the coaching staff, but that offense was Todd Gurley.
Sure.
It's the Saquon Barkley, Daniel Jones argument.
Yeah, and they went to a Super Bowl.
Yes.
And Todd Gurley was the Offensive Player of the Year. And
Correct.
You give money because it's successful. It's not, anyone could have done that in that scheme. The scheme's great. Obviously, there's a reason everybody in the NFL is trying to do what McVay and Shanahan do, but not every running back that has played in those systems have succeeded. Look at the Rams' offense the last couple of years when they've had not Todd Gurley, when Cam Akers has gotten hurt and they've had to turn to somebody off the bench.
Or put in the doghouse because he can't pass protect, or things like that, critical parts of the offense that aren't just ball carrying.
Yeah, and when you don't have that Haas, things are going to be harder to do. And obviously it wasn't as much the case for this Titans offense when Deontay Foreman be able to take over, but it still was the case. You have to change things. You can't just count on guys going to touch it 30 times and you're going to win.
Well, Nick Sessa, the Tennessean, is here with us on 104.5 The Zone. Nick has the unique experience, well, maybe not unique to too many people, but specifically you've covered the SEC prior to coming here to the Titans beat and to Nashville, specifically Ole Miss. What, in your estimation, I don't know how close, I assume you covered recruiting quite closely in your career, players that look like Derrick Henry or guys who look like Derrick Henry did coming out of high school, they don't play running back anymore. You're talking about those bell cow type of running backs. Like those dudes, I think, or their parents, I think, are looking at the position, the physicality, the taxation physically, mentally, financially, it seems, that it is taking on people, and the fact that doesn't seem to be changing anytime soon. I don't know if I don't know if the running back situation is resolvable, not just because of the current debate that's going on around their finances right now, but because players like Derrick Henry are going to stop choosing to play running back because it doesn't make as much sense for them.
No, I'll give you an example that's close to the Titans. About 7 or 8 years ago, I covered LSU, and Leonard Fournette was still there.
Yep.
And everybody knows Leonard Fournette. As a high school kid, as a college kid, he's a superstar. And I look around that roster, and you ask me, who's the most freak athlete on this team? I wouldn't have said Leonard. I would have said Arden Key.
Yeah.
Because even if you have somebody as prodigious as Leonard Fournette or Todd Gurley or Zeke Elliott or some of these guys that were in college around those time, the best athletes, the most freakish athletes I covered in college were Leonard Floyd at Georgia, were Arden Key at LSU. I mean, these are guys that are long and tall and 240, 250 and can bend off the edge and can run a 4.5, 4.4. I mean, that is the true peak of athleticism in the sport a lot of the times. And if you can do that, or versus play the position where you're going to get hit 35 times a game and get your bones crunched and have a shorter shelf life and make less money, it makes more practical sense. That said, if you have the chance to touch the ball, people like glory. So
sure.
I don't think people are going to stop wanting to be the guy who scores touchdowns.
Yeah.
Like, financially, it makes sense, but try telling a 16-year-old, you're going to make more money as the guy who tackles that guy than you are as the guy who scores the touchdowns.
Yeah, well, I guess it's, and not everybody is skilled enough to be a wide receiver. Like I think somebody brought up, I was listening to, I can't remember which podcast, maybe the Athletic NFL show, I'm sure one of these podcasts, where they're talking about Jonathan Taylor, and basically the debate was, well, don't you think if Jonathan Taylor had committed to being a slot receiver or something like that Jonathan Taylor isn't the kind of athlete that could play slot receiver? Maybe, but he's a better running back. He's better at that position. He has a better opportunity to achieve at the level at Mississippi State and achieve now in the NFL that he has at that position. And I just, the financial part of this, as it's been brought up many times, inside linebackers have faced this, safeties have faced this. There has been denigration of specific positions as the sport evolves. But it's an ebb and flow thing. I had Rand Carthon on Wednesday when we were out here. It's an ebb and flow thing as far as his contracts. Offenses are going to spread things out. After a while, defenses are going to get smaller. We saw this with the Chargers and the Ravens a couple years ago. I think Lamar Jackson's rookie year in the postseason. And at a certain point, an offense is going to look around and be like, we're bigger than you. We're just going to run you over for 60 minutes. This is just basically the evolution of the sport.
But here's the tricky thing about the running game. I like asking this people just as a frame. So we'll always say, if you can average 4 yards per carry, you'll win every game. How many teams do you think averaged 4 yards per carry last year?
Oh, damn. I bet it's If it's 10, I'd be surprised.
It's 29.
What?
Look it up. Go to Pro Football Reference right
29?
now. 29 teams averaged more than 4 or more yards per carry
last
year.
season?
Last season.
That's wild to me.
For as much as we say, oh, it's a perfect offense, just run 4 yards, get a first down every 3 plays. It doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
Football is a sport of outliers. Teams are going to break 70-yard runs and then have 6 0-yard runs in a row, and that's still going to average to like 7 yards per carry. So this whole just, eventually teams are going to figure out, pound it down your throat. If football was that simple, everybody would still be running what Vince Lombardi was running in 1964 or whatever. I mean, we have adjusted as a sport, and I think there's still.
Have we? Are you sure?
I would
Bud,
assume.
I know it's 9 months, but Bud, I mean,
look,
I'm still waiting for that evolution. You let me know.
I think what I'm talking about is the defensive evolution of
Agreed.
being able to know, hey, if a team's just going to try and run it down our throat, okay.
Yeah.
Let them. We'll drop 7.
less
We'll
efficient.
drop 8.
Yeah.
They're going to eventually not be able to count on that 5-yard run. They're going to make their own unforced error.
Is that not the best example? Is this not the best example of a team who got that way, right? It's the 32nd ranked passing defense. Yeah. They were a great defense against the run, and they're citing continuously, our front, we're gonna snuff out that part of your game, and other teams will look around and be like, that's not really a part of our game plan when we play you, because we know that last year different, injuries always going to. Any conversation around them is going to default to injuries. But I think this is as good an example for that argument, last year's Titans defense, as any that you could point to of what you just stated.
No, and every time I watch football, I'm confused why teams don't do what Iowa State's done in the Big 12 the last few years, which is just, we're going to drop 8 in coverage every play.
Yeah.
We're not going to blitz. We're not going to run fit. We're going to just say, hey, 8 people are in coverage. You come to us.
Yeah.
And I think we're seeing modern defense kind of adjust to that with what you're alluding to of these really fast defenses, smaller defenses, adjusting with your dime and nickel packages and saying, it's a 3-3-5, it's a 3-2-6. You can beat us up front, we're going to beat you.
Well, it's like, because teams now have defensive players like Fred Warner who can run with CeeDee Lamb in coverage and actually cover him in ways that, previous inside linebackers, not watching Ray Lewis or Brian Urlacher, maybe Urlacher, but guys like that from a previous generation of football not running the seam with CeeDee Lamb and keeping actual pace.
No, it doesn't happen like that most of the time. But, yeah, if you got these guys, take advantage of it. It's like what you're saying. The best athletes want to play defense.
Yeah. Well, and the defense here is going to be, I'm skeptical. I don't think they're suspect. I think that they always play above their heads on a regular basis. I think that coaching staff and the players, the way that they work together, they've got proof of concept of that here. But certainly getting Harold Landry back this year helps. We heard from him. The audience just heard from him during his press conference. Harold said he had damn near has a perfect ACL at this stage. And based on, it's 2 days. I'm not going to get overexcited. Coach Mack always says keep your powder dry. But Harold Landry being at this in form at this time of year is clear and obvious to everybody, I think.
Yeah, between him and Arden Key, I'd say that's a position group that has really impressed me through 2 days. And throw Rashad Weaver in there. He's made some good plays, too. I do think that so much of last year's losing streak came down to those injuries on the defensive front. And you have Harold back, you have Jeff at full strength, you have Danico at full strength, you put Arden there, throw Tier Tard in there as well. That's a good group. That's a good group. And they are, again, we're seeing a patchwork offensive line that's learning to play together for the first time, and I want to see what happens when they put full pads on and go full speed and all
Hubbard
that stuff.
got first-team reps today. He literally signed at 7 a.m. and then found the equipment room like 20 minutes later.
I want to see how they work when everything's in place. But right now, I would say if there's an encouraging thing about this entire team, let alone the defense, that defensive front looks like it can be nasty.
Yeah, and that's the thing that I think a lot of people are banking on, and that's that's the way that this team has always been under Mike Vrabel, first and foremost constructed. Offensive line takeaways, it's tough to have them until they put pads on. We'll all be out here tomorrow. I assume they're going to go full pads in front of fans. We'll see. But I think at this point, Mike continues to be asked questions about Dillard and Brunskill and all these dudes, and he just continues to default, well, we know how to practice without pads, but they're not practicing with pads right now. I don't know what to tell you guys until they do.
I thought Jalen Duncan looked okay today at points, like playing a lot of reps at right tackle. I thought that for a sixth-round rookie, he's holding his own against Arden Key, against Harold Landry.
Well, he's such a good athlete, right? That's a common theme of this draft class and in the free agent class that they brought in.
Yeah, no, those spark guys, as you want to call them. I mean, he's a really good athlete, and that's going to look better out of pads. We'll see, again, when they put the pads on, but it's going to be easier for him to keep up with Arden Key's wacky flailing arm tube man defense. I mean,
apparently that is called of mixing of moves, according to Mike Vrabel, and it literally just looks like one of those used car sales lot characters at this point.
It's incredible. But yeah, the offensive line, I am not at a point where I'm going to say, oh, I'm out or I'm in. I'm going to say it's been 2 days.
We're here.
Yeah, we're here.
Nick Suss of the Tennessean, Tennessean.com is where you can read all of the work that he and his colleague, Gentry Estras, and the rest of their sports staff do. Where can people follow you on Twitter, bud?
Yeah, at Nick Suss, NICKSUSS, for as long as the app lasts. And
I keep calling it Twitter. I know it's X. I don't care.
No, I don't care either, and I am not on any of the others because I am too lazy to download an app.
This must be how it is to be an Android user. I'm not leaving. You can't tell me otherwise. Yeah, wave it in the air proudly for the streaming audience to see. Thank you for stopping by.
Yeah, happy to be here.
We'll take a quick break. We'll wrap up. We'll do some polls. We'll get you the hell out of here on this Friday. Over to Blaine and Mickey. I'm Buck Rising. It's 104.5 The Zone. Two Rivers Ford is where you go for quality American-made Ford vehicles and award-winning customer service. There is no better place to get your new vehicle, new or pre-owned vehicle, than the incredible folks at Two Rivers Ford. I myself am a customer. I custom ordered my 2022 Ford Explorer at tworiversford.com. I worked with my non-commissioned salesperson to get everything that I wanted out of my vehicle, and they delivered it to my home. It was like an Amazon package, except it was a new Ford. You can do that. You can shop on the lot if you like. They've got all manner of F-150s in particular right now. They've been the leading F-150 dealer in Middle Tennessee for 40 years, their entire existence. There is no better place for you to go through the car buying process faster, easier, or having more fun than Two Rivers Ford in Mount Juliet, powered by Ford, driven by people. Grand Prix, August 4th through the 6th. IndyCar takes over the streets of downtown Nashville. We're going to be there hanging out in the Turn 9 Club, and you can be as well. 3-day passes, single-day passes for each of the 3 days of incredible racing or your premium hospitality, such as the Turn 9 Club, can be found at MusicCityGP.com. What comes with your Turn 9 pass? All-inclusive. Food, free food from Edley's Barbecue and Poncho and Lefty's, free beer and wine and non-alcoholic beverages, access to the paddock where you can get up close and personal with these incredible machines that will be racing around the streets of downtown Nashville August 4th through the 6th. Get your tickets today before they sell out at MusicCityGP.com. Boogie Shoes, that must be the end of the show. Jackson's back there yelling at me. The music's been playing for some time. Listen, it's not my fault that nobody else around me. I was failed by my support system. Here, I was let down. Nobody else had a headset on.
You
I
had your
cannot be
headset
held
on.
responsible. Huh?
If you had your headset on, I was yelling at you for a good 2 minutes.
I can't be expected to keep my headset on. It's 104 degrees out here. It's like you telling me that you just started doing the radio show wearing your headphones, all right? Far be it from you to judge me, all right, Mother Bleeper?
Oh, how the tables turn.
Indeed. 615-737-1045. Last call for phone calls if you got them. So it's my understanding that we did not carry Mike Vrabel's press conference because we were Derrick Henry, obviously the more important one there, but did have the opportunity to talk to Mike today about a couple of different things. Jackson, if you can pull from my Twitter timeline the question that I asked Mike. One of my colleagues asked Mike about Harold Landry, and then the follow-up that I had about Rashad Weaver and the work that he's been getting in. It's something that obviously is going to be a big talking point out here. You heard Nick say it. You know, the best chance that defense has to be special. We all know this, right? But Nick putting it into I think good context with the couple of days of work that we've seen. The best chance that this damn team has to be special is that front seven. Like, that's the place where it's got to come from. That's the place where health is the most critical. You saw where things have kind of where it did fall off in 2022 that they were not capable of making up for. So this was Mike Vrabel speaking about the two pass rushers not, let's call it 25 minutes ago.
Kind of working him back in, and he's been great to communicate with as far as adding things each day. Just getting started, but stringing some plays together, see how he responds, see how he feels, and then we'll add more tomorrow if that warrants.
How beneficial has the offseason work for Rashad Weaver, strength and conditioning stuff? Has that paid dividends out here so far?
Yeah, and he was one of those guys that put a lot of good work in and was up for conversation for that award, and I think it shows. Weaver's got a certain play style. He's got great length, he knows how to use it, and then he plays extremely hard. He's not going to be the fastest player out there, but he goes hard, he's got length, and I appreciate that he knows who he is. So I think his maturity, I think his strength, I think his body has changed. Some guys are 21, 22, and they are a certain level of strength and explosiveness. And some guys are 25 or 26. I don't know, but he's kept working at it, and it appears to be headed in the right direction as we start camp.
I know it's specific to the individual probably, but can that be tough at times to kind of get players to know who they are, like you said?
I don't know if it's tough. I think it sometimes could be challenging because they do watch great players, and you always want to emulate great players, but you want to make sure that you're watching the guys that have a similar skill set at every position. So you can learn from that, and also explain to the player, like, there's a lot of ways to get your job done and do it very well.
When the defense.
That's Mike Vrabel speaking about Harold Landry after a couple of days of work and the offseason progress that Rashad Weaver did make. He is bigger, faster, and stronger. It's noticeable, and that is going to matter a great deal. It's not just about having the initial horses up front. The teams that do it the best, the teams that compete for Super Bowls, like Philadelphia is a great example. They have consistently continued to build and fortify the depth of their pass rush year in and year out. It's disgusting that they fell into guys like Nolan Smith, and I continue to forget the defensive lineman from Georgia, the guy who ultimately ended up in the first round but was involved in all the street racing, and Jalen Carter, Nolan Smith. It is disgusting that guys like that end up falling to Philadelphia in ways that the rich get richer. But, it is as important. I would put it second after having a quarterback that you can trust to execute your passing game. The ability to get pressure with four and the ability to continue to run fresh legs in there is something that this team, that depth is something that this team has lacked significantly, even under Mike Vrabel, and something that I think they hope Rashad Weaver, Arden Key, Harold Landry can kind of continue to uplift at this stage. I'm going to be out here tomorrow, so we'll keep you updated with observations on social media. If you're a fan coming out to practice, we look forward to hanging out here with you. I know there's going to be a bunch of people who are excited to see all the things that we've been telling you about. Well, at 11:15 we can tell you about, but be able to see these things with your own eyes, to take videos, to watch all of your favorite players out here performing on the field. Should be fun. Should be hot, so make sure you're hydrated. Bring your sunscreen. In the meantime, Jackson, some polls, please.
Oh, yeah, baby. This poll update is shagadelic, baby. I have a Danger Powers here. I'm Austin Powers. Danger is my middle name, baby. This is one poll I'm interested in, baby. It's shagadelic. I haven't had an update in 2023 yet. Wink, wink. Oh, hey. Take it away, Lucas Panzica. Yeah, baby. Yeah.
You going to tell me who the polls are presented by?
They're presented by Two Rivers Ford. They sell below MSRP on all non-specialty new Fords.
Don't laugh at Two Rivers Ford, damn you.
Damn you. We only had one poll
I'm
today.
sorry. Do I make your job harder?
Yes,
I'm so
you do.
sorry, Jackson.
We only have one poll today. Which Titans rookie do you have the high expectation for this season? George Woodard said has to be Skoronski. A lot of people saying Skoronski, and a couple Tyjae Spears out there. What are you thinking, Buck?
Skoronski would be my pick, although I thought Tyjae Spears is going to be an interesting case study, not just because of who he's playing behind and who he might in the future have to replace, but can he get on the field? Are they going to pare down or kind of scale back Derrick Henry at all to be able to get that player like meaningful carries? That's a 3-down running back that is also a threat as a receiver. I can't imagine that dude was drafted to just get 5 or 6 touches a game.
Those are the polls.
Oh, damn it. I forgot to tweet out the polls. Why didn't
Actually,
you tell me that?
I have a second poll.
You have a second poll?
Who wore it better, you or Hunk, in the hoodie shirt?
Who wore it better in the hoodie shirt?
You two
Well,
are
the
both
answer
wearing
is
the same
me
thing.
for obvious reasons, but the less obvious reasons that the radio audience can't see is Joe Hunk chose a black hoodie shirt today.
They can see Hunk.
No, again, who are you talking to if your microphone is not on? What are you, Kirby?
No, Kirby's the reason why I never have a microphone. So it's the reason why.
Probably
so that's why it's up
wise.
there. No, I wore a black one, but it's extremely thin, like very thin. So it's the only reason I wore this.
Nobody believes you.
And
All right.
and then I gotta go take a shower.
Okay, go take a shower. We could all use one after a day of training camp. I'm sure you at home could use one too. I can't smell you, but I'm sure you smell wonderful. Anyway, that's going to do it for us today here at Titans Training Camp. It's going to do it for us this week. I think it's Friday. I lose track of the days.
Yes.
At this point, they start to blend together because working on the weekends, kids, it's back. Have a great weekend yourselves. Be back with you Sunday night on A to Z Sports Prime Time. Radio show starts Monday morning at 10 a.m.